In my last video, I mentioned that I was hopeful that Audien's next hearing aid would offer a more compelling balance of performance and price. Well, today let's find out if that's the case with their new Atom X. It's honestly rare to see major leaps between generations in the hearing aid world, but this time I'm genuinely excited to share at least one innovative feature with the new Atom X by Audien Hearing. There's a lot to unpack here today, but I have to at least start by teasing my favorite addition, which is their new touchscreen charging case. It is honestly quite nice, and I can't wait to demo it for you and show you exactly how it works in just a few minutes. But first, some quick background. Audien has a lineup of budget-friendly hearing products that, to be honest, I have never been overly impressed with, and that's mostly due to their poor sound quality and some serious usability issues. But Atom X claimed to improve on both of those points with Audien's new A2 Max chip, Bluetooth audio streaming, which is another big win. There is built-in UV cleaning, and again, that touchscreen that we've already mentioned. Like most OTC hearing aids, Audien advertises quality hearing at a fraction of the cost. And of course, that sounds great, but that value is only real if the performance holds up. Otherwise, it's just marketing hype. And over the past few years, we have tested a wide range of OTC hearing aids where that has been the case. So today, we are putting Atom X to the test based on my hands-on experiences and, as always, lab data from HearAdvisor. I had quite a few unique experiences while streaming a phone call, for example, that I'm excited to share with you. But first, here are some quick product specs to cover the basics. You do get hands-free calling. That's right, hands-free calling, which is a first for Audien products, at least to my knowledge. There's roughly a 12-hour battery life with additional power through the case. Customization is available through Audien's new novel case, but there is no mobile app. There's also no telecoil. There's also no published IP rating that at least I could find. All right, so in case you can't wait until the end, here's a quick summary of all of our testing. Overall, Atom X received a hearing tracker score of 3.3 out of 5, placing it slightly above Atom Pro 2. All right, that's enough talk, at least for now. So let's crack this thing open and see what's in the box. All right, of course, there are various user documents, and I definitely recommend reading these, though this is more of a do as I say and not as I do situation because I tend to just jump straight in. All right, let's move on to the case. So inside of this, as soon as I get the lid open, you will see that blue light, and that is the UV cleaning element. On the front of the case, we see the battery status for both the hearing aids and the case itself. And this is nice as it is a rather high resolution screen. There is a button on the side that will allow us to turn the screen off and on. So once we take the hearing aids out, we'll have a few more adjustments on the front of the screen. We can adjust the volume for the left and the right hearing aid independently. Unfortunately, there is no communication between them, so that will need to be made independently. If we click that center mode button, we can adjust the preset or the program that our hearing aids are using. And then all the way to the right, we can enable or disable Bluetooth, which we will talk about more in the next segment. Taking a closer look at Atom X, there is this pull tab, which a lot of people think is an antenna. There's the microphone port and the multi-function button. Be sure to read the user manual to learn all of the functions. For example, a single press turns the volume up, a double press will turn the volume down. Digging further into the box, we will find the domes, and these are all the same other than there's a slight difference in size. There are also wax guards, and if you are not familiar with these, be sure to read the user manual. We also have a multi-function cleaning tool with a brush, a little pick, and then the USB-C to USB-A charging cable. So Atom X do come with a wall plug, so we can simply plug the USB-A end into the plug, the USB-C end directly into the charging case, and then after a few hours of charging, we're good to go. Okay, let's change gears and talk about wireless features, because this is one area where Atom X starts to feel a lot more modern. Atom X supports Bluetooth, meaning it connects wirelessly to your phone for streaming and hands-free calling. And yes, it works with both iOS and Android. Now, I've been testing it with iOS, so if you've had different experiences with your Android device, please let me know. And this is honestly a nice thing to be able to claim, as many hearing aids, at least in the past, focused on iOS. So I'm glad that we're moving past that. But anyway, while many hearing aids rely heavily on mobile apps for adjustments, Audien took a different approach here with their touchscreen charging case. Now, to my knowledge, this is the first time we've seen a touchscreen integrated directly into a hearing aid case, and it's honestly a great idea. The case gives you quick access to essential controls like volume and program changes without needing to pull out your phone or tap through app menus. Now, don't get me wrong, I generally love when hearing aids offer deeper levels of customization, but I know that that's not for everyone. So, this design strikes a nice middle ground, being simple, accessible, and useful. So, props to Audien, nice job. But let's quickly go over the pairing process and some basic features so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go over the pairing process for Audien Hearing Atom X. And this is fairly straightforward. We'll just want to take our case, open it up, remove our Atom X hearing aids, and this will give us access to our front screen. We want to make sure that Bluetooth is highlighted in blue like that. All right, now let's go to our phone, go to our Bluetooth settings, and then if we give it some time, we should see Atom X pop up. And if we just click that, it will pair. And once it's paired, now you can see that our screen has changed, and we can still then adjust the volume of our stream signal. You can also adjust the transparency mode here. So then you could go to your favorite streaming service, play some music, and now they'll be coming through your hearing aids. Now, when it comes to streaming, I found the performance surprisingly solid. It was truly hands-free with my iPhone, and outside of a slight buzzing in my left ear during playback, everything worked as expected. Another feature that I really appreciated was the transparency control while streaming. This allowed me to adjust how much of the outside world I could hear during audio playback. Imagine, for example, walking down the street while on a call and still being aware of cars and people around you. Now, that's not just convenient, it is a great safety feature. Alternatively, if you do want to block out the world, you can decrease the world around you by adjusting that transparency volume down. Okay, I am eager to share our lab data with you, as sound quality has always been one area Audien has kind of left me wanting more. So let's dive straight in and see how Atom X performed. And as always, we put Atom X through our objective audio obstacle course at HearAdvisor. And this is where we use industry standard tests and some very cool equipment to make fair, data-driven sound quality comparisons. Now, I say this or something similar in every video, and I'm not sure at what point I can stop, as you'll already know what HearAdvisor is. So if you think we've hit that point and I can just skip over that initial introduction, please leave me a comment. All right, here are Atom X's results across HearAdvisor's 5 sound quality metrics and 2 fitting paradigms. You'll likely notice that the initial and tune scores are identical, and that's because there was no additional programming or physical adjustments available after the initial fit based on our decision tree. Now, that's honestly not uncommon with OTC devices, especially ones without a mobile app or custom fitting software. Taking a closer look, speech performance in quiet seems to suggest a slight improvement over the previous Atom Pro 2, which is great to see. But unfortunately, we didn't see any change in noise. Like Atom Pro 2, Atom X still sits on the lower end of our scale in this area. And overall, Atom X lands in the mid to lower range, just barely earning a B sound grade. So while it performs about the same as Atom Pro 2, from a speech processing standpoint, the addition of audio streaming did give it a slight bump. But you can see the full breakdown and interactive comparisons over at HearAdvisor.com. Okay, time for my favorite part of these videos. Get your headphones ready because we are going to listen to Atom X in a typical cafe setting. First, we'll hear that cafe environment without Atom X, so think normal listening. Then we'll hear with both the initial and tune fits, but remember, for Atom X, there was no difference between the initial and tune tests due to limited programming and physical adjustments. But here we go, so keep your volume consistent for the best results.
Did you hear the news last night? No, must have missed it.
Looks like we're finally getting a break. I mean, it's supposed to be sunny all weekend.
Oh, yeah? Perfect timing. Maybe I can finally get out there and do some yard work.
Yard work? My mind went to breaking out the grill.
Well, that too. The lawn isn't going to cut itself, and the bushes have gotten a little crazy.
I guess that's true. I mean, I've been putting off staining the deck, but this year may be the year.
Trees, bushes, deck. We'll just have to dream about the grill and the huge ice cream cooler.
Now let's hear the audio streaming quality. We'll start with the original unprocessed music track. Okay, so what are the key takeaways with Audien Atom X? Well, there are definitely some noteworthy improvements here, especially when it comes to usability. The touchscreen charging case is a genuinely innovative upgrade, but when it comes to audio quality, I was again underwhelmed. Atom X may offer a small bump in quiet environments compared to Atom Pro 2, but honestly, I view Atom X as Pro 2 with streaming and that nice new case. Overall, Atom X can be a decent OTC hearing aid given the recent upgrades, but there's still room for improvement. And depending on your needs, you are likely to find a better overall value from other OTC options. I say that given the nearly $400 price tag. As I mentioned in my Atom Pro 2 review, Apple Airpods Pro deliver better speech performance, higher fidelity for audio streaming, app control, and advanced features like active noise cancellation, all for roughly half the price. Now, I know it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison, apples to Audien, but it's still a fair one to make. That said, AirPods have their own limitations, including a shorter battery life and that classic earbud stigma. But if we're focused solely on sound quality, streaming, and customization, AirPods are still a clear winner to me. But I'm curious to hear from you. Would you wear AirPods as hearing aids, or is that physical aesthetic a barrier? Let me know in the comments below if you have a strong opinion either way. Some key pros are, again, that touchscreen charging case, which is really the star of the show. Whether you have limited dexterity, low vision, or are tired of fussing with your phone, it is both practical and accessible. I hope more brands follow suit. Also, the inclusion of Bluetooth audio streaming is a huge step for Audien's product line. Again, I believe this is the first device they've offered that has audio streaming. And I did find it to work well and improve my overall experience. With around 12 hours of use per charge and additional power from the case, Atom X should get most of us through our day. Now, some online resources even report longer run times, and considering the added wireless features and compact design, 12 hours is honestly not too bad, and it could be worse. Now, with that said, while Atom X has several upgrades, it still trails behind many OTC competitors in speech clarity, especially in noisy environments, and that's where most of us want help. Now, Atom X also relies on preset listening modes rather than custom tuning or data from a hearing test. This limits the precision of fitting for your individual hearing needs. There is also currently no professional support, which is something we're seeing more often in the OTC market. Alright, but that's it for today's video. If you are curious about another OTC device I found to offer better speech performance, check out this video. But thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.